Hello, welcome to Post Colonial Space. I'm Masood Raja, and today I will briefly talk about tomorrow's election and its implications for everyone, but also for those of us who are considered immigrants and those of us who are progressive, liberal, and people who care about other people. Now, before I go into it, I would like to clarify that I do not have a naive view of America. Okay, I read America, write about it, and about its foreign policy as a critic. And that I'm also not just a Democrat. Okay, I believe in the leftist socialist version of politics, which ensures that there is universal health care, that education is free, and that the poor are taken care of, and that we build a society in which the state plays its role in taking care of its people, right? So that's what my stance is, of course. So that can already tell you that in the primaries, I voted for Bernie Sanders because his vision comes close to how I imagine any political institutions or the nation. But in this election, I've already voted, right? And I've already voted for the Democratic Party. And my reasons are pretty obvious, okay? I am an immigrant. I came to United States in 1996 as a student. I became a U.S. citizen last year, right? And in this election, there are two visions of America that are being offered to us. And I see it from the perspective of someone who made this country his home, right? And one vision, of course, which Mr. Trump and his allies want us to believe in is that this world is a conflictual place. America will be stronger if it becomes, more intolerant, more arrogant, more hostile to minorities, right? And they want to normalize this perception of America, but also this actual practical unfolding of America. So America that they want to project or create is an America which is afraid of differences of all kinds, racial, ethnic, right, sexual differences, regional differences, which wants to withdraw from its international alliances and responsibilities and cower behind walls, right? Behind symbolic walls of hatred and fear, but also material walls. That's the vision of America that Mr. Trump is selling. And sadly, they are selling it as if that is a strong America. I mean, think of it slightly critically. How could an America which is afraid of differences, which is afraid of people in the world, which is building walls around its borders, right? Which is terrified of differences, ethnic and others within the communities, how could that America be a brave America or a great America, right? That's the vision that Mr. Trump is selling. So it's the politics of fear, politics of hate, sometimes blatantly expressed and sometimes latently practiced. And it's a politics of the past, right? They want to go and retrieve this America that never really historically existed. And in that America, people like me, women, gays and lesbians, people who come from other parts of the world, all of them are contaminants. All of them are threats to this privileged position of a small, vociferous minority, right? And I'm not saying that Joe Biden is offering, a revolutionary America, but here is what comes across clearly in his campaign and in his statements, and that is empathy, right? That you can hear his speeches or his statements, and you know that this is a person who and whose party at least believe in a diverse America. That they at least performatively speak about empathy and about taking care of those who are falling ill in this pandemic, and that they care about communities that might not be included within the promise of the nation. The difference may only be performative, but it unleashes a different kind of politics. On the one hand, what Mr. Trump offers is a politics of exclusion. It's built around fear. This is who I'm going to stop. This is what I'm going to take away from these people. These people will be put in cages. These people will be behind the walls. It's a politics of fear. And on the other hand is a politics of promise, right? A politics of hope, that we can live together peacefully despite our differences, despite our racial, ethnic, sexual, and other differences, religious differences, right? These are the two visions of America. Now, as a scholar, if you were to ask my opinion, and of course, it's just one opinion, what America is stronger? And then I would say it, unequivocally, that the America that is engaged in the world, that looks at itself critically and tries to change itself, that can live with differences within our communities, that is tolerant of differences, that is kind and generous, is a stronger America. Because, if you go and read works on psychology, group and individual psychology, you will know that all these responses and policies that Mr. Trump and his ilk has been pushing around, they stem from a fear, from an anxiety. They don't come from a place of strength. They don't come from a place of generosity and care, right? And they're all geared towards creating exclusive spaces for one group or another at the cost of others, and positing the other groups as dangerous and a threat. Now, that is not politics of bravery. I don't care how many guns these people have, and they wear their military fatigues and everything else and walk in our streets. Those are not brave acts. When you tarnish another community and your entire identity depends on putting someone else down, being unkind to others, being ungenerous, those are neither Christian values nor connected to any form of valor or courage. Those are deeply cowardly values. So on this day, my first year as a U.S. citizen, my first year of voting in a presidential election, that is what I am reflecting on, as to not just who will become president, right? But what vision of America will win. The vision of a progressive, tolerant America is what I take with me when I go and give my speeches elsewhere, like in Pakistan, when people mobilize the stereotype of the ugly, aggressive America, right? I tell them the stories of my friends here, millions upon millions of them, who come out in the streets, who came out in the streets, fighting for the rights of minorities, fighting for the rights of Muslims to enter this country. Now that is the America that I cherish, right? And that I love. And at stake is that America. Because if this person, Mr. Trump, who has no empathy, no love for democratic norms and systems, and who absolutely is okay with blatantly or in a subtle way expressing his racialized views, if he wins another 4 years, then all you get is an entrenchment of a view of America that is intolerant, that is scared of the world, that wants to be a superpower, right? But only based on its military and economic strength, and not through any good works in the world, right? That is what will be normalized. And do you really want an America like that? No, I know my detractors and others will give me 1,000 different reasons as to why they want Trump to be the president, and why the America that he envisions is the kind of America that they believe in. But ask yourself this question. How do you sustain a culture that is based in suspicion, that is based in hatred, that is based in fear, right? The only way you could do that is if you constantly keep creating an environment that is based in fear and hatred. So these 4 more years will absolutely then need to create the conditions that pit us against each other, that make us into people who just look at another person and either hate them or are afraid of them, right? On the other hand, the possibility is to continue, the project of America, which is constantly re-evaluating itself, incorporating more and more people into the promise of America, and constantly transforming its international roles, right? And letting people like me and others critique it so that it can keep becoming a better polity, a better nation, right? A better leader in the world affairs. So these are my thoughts, and I will stop with an anecdote, right? And which is, when the tragedy of September 11 happened, I was then in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a terrible day, right? And when I got back home that night, I had so many messages on my answering machine, all from my American friends, my progressive liberal friends, okay? And the only thing on their phone, on their messages, was they were asking me if I was okay, right? On the day of one of the greatest tragedies, my American friends, their main concern was, oh, he walks late at night, he goes out alone. I hope no one has tried to hurt him. I hope no one has said something mean to him because, he looks like he's a Muslim or he's from one of those countries. That was their main concern, and that taught me one thing, right? That despite all this hatred and distrust and fear that we see in contemporary politics, the true America, which I said I love, is these friends, right? These so-called liberals, these snowflakes, right? Who are usually considered weak because they, at the moment of their pain, had the time and the care to reach out to the probably only person who knew who was from a Muslim country to reassure him that we are with you. You are not alone, right? And that's the story I will tell all my life to anyone who, wishes to hear, because that is the America I believe in. So, I've already voted, but tomorrow when you go to the polls, if you're a Christian, if you're conservative, or if you're a liberal progressive, ask yourself, who are you voting for? And depending on that, what vision, what future of America are you voting for? Because your vote will decide that. And it is crucial to think about it before you cast your vote. Thank you so much. As always, stay blessed, and from me to you, peace and love.